CNN's Jim Acosta, the combative anti-Trump fake news reporter, had a screaming tantrum directed at White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders during the press briefing Monday afternoon. Sarah had just wrapped up the briefing when Acosta went nuts. The embattled press secretary has been bullied by Acosta before, but this time, she shocked him with a brutal surprise that shut him up for good. Trump hater Jim Acosta makes no apologies for his ridiculous behavior or his blatant bias reporting at CNN. Press Secretary Sarah Sanders has endured Acosta's attacks before, but yesterday, he went too far. As Fox News reports, John Beck and Liam Dwyer, both retired Marine Corps sergeants, sat near the podium in their wheelchairs Monday as Sanders touted the Trump administration's efforts to restore accountability to the Department of Veterans Affairs. Sanders had wrapped the presser, indicating that she wanted to let the wheelchair-bound veterans take a break. Well, this wasn't to Acosta's liking. Thinking only about his sorry self, the CNN reporter started screaming at Sanders, Sarah, that's the third briefing you haven't taken a question from CNN." The press secretary ignored Jim Acosta, making the CNN reporter look like a fool. She was focused on the disabled veterans and assisting them to leave the press room. Yet, Acosta, like all immature liberal idiots, made everything about him, deciding to attempt to shame Sanders on Twitter. Really wrong move. Acosta tweeted, "Third press briefing in a row that a press sec did not take a question from CNN. #courage. The press secretary must have been shaking her head reading Acosta's tweet because her response ended up breaking the internet, going viral right away. Courage isn't taking a question from CNN, Jim. Courage is combat veteran Sergeant Beck and Staff Sergeant Dwyer, the two heroes at the briefing. #It's not about you. You can see Acosta's tweet got a mere 9,000 likes, mostly by Rosie O'Donnell and her cohorts, but Sanders' rebuttal has over 45,000 likes and counting. It shut Acosta up, and insiders say, this time, Sanders is done taking any more questions from the CNN reporter ever again. Fox News added, the spat is not the first time Acosta has made waves at a White House press briefing. In December, Sanders told Acosta she wouldn't take any more questions from him after he said that just because journalists make honest mistakes it doesn't make them fake news. Most say she relented back in December since CNN is the biggest anti-Trump network and not taking questions from them could be seen as controlling the opposition. After this blatant bad behavior and bullying, it looks like poor Acosta indeed will be shut out from pressers from now on. President Donald Trump thanked crazy Acosta of fake news CNN in January for seemingly acknowledging the government shutdown was a win for the Trump White House. The president also threw Acosta out of the Oval Office during a heated exchange where the fake news reporter was implying Trump was a racist and only wanted immigrants from Norway. Did you say that you want more people to come in from Norway? Did you say that you wanted more people from Norway? Is that true, Mr. President? Acosta frantically shouted. I want them to come in from everywhere. Everywhere. Thank you very much, everybody, Trump responded as Acosta continued to bark questions. Just Caucasian or white countries, sir? Or do you want people to come in from other parts of the world? People of color, Acosta shouted. Trump then pointed directly at Acosta and simply said, "Out." Americans across the country were rejoicing that Acosta got burned, again. "I hope she never asks the ignorant liberal another question. All he does is turn the answer around to fit his and CNN's agenda, which is fake news. I'm glad we have a strong press secretary, one to be proud of and takes nothing," tweeted Lauren41. Jim Acosta has no business being in the White House press pool. Acosta is a pundit, not an investigative journalist. He gives his personal opinion and refuses to hide his bias. This guy is an unapologetic Trump hater. That is his right as a private citizen, but when you are in the press pool, the job is to gather information, follow up leads, and report to the American people so we can form an opinion. Acosta does the exact opposite, and we all know it. His tantrums have gotten him exactly what he deserves. Sarah Sanders kicked his butt and burned him in front of the entire nation. Goodbye to Jim Acosta. Here's hoping CNN will send him to some tiny operation way out in the wilds of frozen Alaska.